I'm Andre Huey and welcome to St. Martin Allentown TV News. The Public Prosecutor's Office and the Police Department are informing the public that general controls on different locations on the island will continue. The entire community is advised to, at all times, walk with proper identification. The authorities said all drivers should make sure to have his or her valid driver's license while operating a motor vehicle, that the vehicle they are driving is in good working condition, and that all documentation that the vehicle requires are up to date and on hand in the vehicle. The information is to avoid any unnecessary inconvenience in case they are stopped by police for control. In addition to this information, the Public Prosecutor's Office is informing those persons who have not paid their outstanding fines to have this settled as soon as possible. During the controls, the officers will be checking on the list of those persons who have unpaid fines. These fines will have to be settled before the person is allowed to continue. If someone who has outstanding fines intends to leave the island via the airport or seaport and their passport is swiped at the immigration booth, it will also register that they have unpaid fines. These fines will have to be settled before that person leaves on his or her trip. A lone bandit is said to have gotten away with an undisclosed amount of money from the Scotiabank in Phillipsburg Friday morning. The robber is said to have made a quiet entry and gave one of the tellers a note demanding money and notifying her that there was a bomb placed on the premises. The teller complied with the request, and after handing over the money, the robber made a swift getaway. The police was notified at around 11 a.m., and when they responded, the bank was evacuated and a complete search of the premises conducted. No bomb was found, and the all-clear sign was given, and business resumed. A full-scale investigation has been launched to find this latest bank robber. Minister with responsibility for Kingdom Affairs and Interior Relations, the Honourable Ronald Plaster, is describing his fruitful working visit to St. Martin this week. Whilst on the island, the minister held discussions with the Council of Ministers, the chairpersons of Parliament, as well as the deputy chairpersons.
We've also met with the chairperson and the two deputy chair people of the Staten of Parliament, so Mrs. Westcott, Mr. Pantoflet and Mr. Richardson, and had a fruitful discussion this morning. And had an opportunity to visit the harbour, where Mr. Mark Mingo showed us around, and we went through some of the plans, but also, interestingly, through some of the statistics on what the harbour means for the island. And I was also interested to see that when it comes to spending per visitor, that actually St. Martin is leading what's being done in the Caribbean. So it's really a good thing for the island that there are so many visitors and that they apparently are so happy to be here and enjoy their stay. So we've been taken through some of the ambitions and plans from the side of the harbour as well, and took note of that, obviously, just because it's interesting to be aware of that. Let me briefly step back and mention a few words about the meeting with the Council of Ministers, because obviously that was the main reason to be here. Without going into details, but I was very impressed by Minister Lee, and we had a good discussion on some of the issues when it concerned his part of the portfolio. One of them was, and I wasn't fully aware of that, the development of plans for, if possible, at some point, a new hospital here in St. Martin. And I offered that if we could be of any help in developing those plans, obviously we'd be happy to do that. He emphasized that one needs to think not just about the building, but about the entire business plan. And I thought that indeed is crucial.
Hi, I'm Andre Huey, and I want to introduce you to an online radio station for Caribbean listeners. Introducing Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. Voice of the Caribbean Radio, or BOC Radio, is an online radio station providing the best in news, sports, and entertainment. We offer original programs and programs from our partner radio stations around the region, including the Caribbean News Hour, Caribbean Sports Roundup, Inside Politics, Caribbean Sports Talk, and much more. You can also listen to us on our mobile app for both Apple and Android mobile devices, as well as on TuneIn. And if you missed any one of our original programs, listen to us again on BOC On Demand on our website. So be sure to listen Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net or on our mobile apps. Voice of the Caribbean Radio, reaching the Caribbean and beyond. Minister of Health Emil Lee is calling for more proactive community action in preventing mosquito breeding grounds as the country battles the Zika virus.
In terms of our approach to Zika virus, and in particular, our focus is on the breeding grounds for mosquitoes. I'm very happy. You know, last week there was a lot of interest in the press release, and actually over my Facebook account, a lot of people commented. And I just want to give you one example. One of our citizens, Natasha Vanderpool, contacted me via Facebook and notified me that the house next to her house appears to be derelict. I guess it's been repossessed by the bank. There's no occupants in the house. So typical problem, the swimming pool not being properly maintained, about 2-3 feet of water in it, very clearly a mosquito breeding ground. So she contacted me, and I got the address, I got her telephone number, and actually on Sunday went to visit the house and actually to see for myself firsthand what had happened. And her impressions were absolutely correct, and actually she was very proactive. She had already taken kerosene, put it in the swimming pool, so actually at that time I didn't see any more breeding mosquitoes. I did give her some mosquito dunks, which I'll explain a little bit later what they are, but they're a biological tool that people can use for standing water that helps to eliminate breeding grounds for mosquitoes. So it reinforces the discussion that actually in the war against mosquitoes, in our war against the breeding ground for mosquitoes, it's actually the citizens that take the front line on this. So we have opened up our hotline. We also have our website, our email address, surveillance@stmartingov.org, and also via Facebook. So the more information that you can give us, the more specific it is, the easier it is for the department to react. I had a couple emails, for example, that said, you know, sucker garden's a problem, but that leaves such a wide area, it makes it much harder for the ministry to be proactive. But also, you know, out of my visit and my discussions with Natasha, what became clear to me is also there's an area that we need to address, properties that are in default. So that means that we're in the process of drafting letters right now to lawyers, banks, real estate offices, and to notaries, that if they are currently managing properties that are not occupied, that they should take special attention to make sure that those properties are not becoming mosquito breeding grounds. As I mentioned to you, one of the things that I gave to Natasha are these. These are called mosquito dunks, and these are biological tools which can be used. They can put in the water, and it interferes with the breeding cycle, the reproduction cycle for mosquitoes. They last for 30 days. They're environmentally friendly. So it's something that citizens can just purchase instead of just waiting for the ministry to react. We encourage the citizens to become active themselves.
Antonio Sondiata Joseph, a.k.a. Mouse, got 4 years in prison for his role in the armed robbery at Helena Jewelers on Front Street on July 24th last year. Drops of blood and blood smears in the store matched the 28-year-old's DNA profile, and that basically clinched the case. The prosecutor demanded a 5-year prison term, but Judge Angela settled for 4 years with a deduction of 104 days he has already spent since his arrest on October 22 behind bars. Joseph wanted the court to believe that he had been fixing speakers at the car of a friend, and that he had cut his hand, and that he had gone to his mother to do something about the wound. Why he held a hammer in his hand during this trip remained unclear. The prosecutor said that the blood drops in the store had to come from a wounded person and that they had not come from the hammer. Judge Angela considered the case proven and sentenced Joseph to 4 years. And finally, the St. Martin Insurance Association, the SMIA, installed a new board following their recent annual elections. The new board will be led by President-elect Dwayne Elgin, CEO of Nagico Insurances. Mr. Elgin takes over the reins from outgoing President Mr. Eric Ellis, who served in the capacity from the inception of the association in 2013 and is also a founding member. The newly elected board comprises of Vice President Olivier Van Gevel, Branch Manager of the Guardian Insurance, Treasurer Wayne Johnson, Branch Manager of ICWI, and Secretary Cynthia Rotsberg, Branch Manager of Caribbean Alliance. Mr. Ellis will now serve as an advisor to the new elected board. The SMIA has as its charter the responsibility for promoting the general interest of the insurance business on St. Martin, as well as to advance and uphold the good reputation and conduct of the insurance business on the island. Incoming President Elgin has more than 15 years' experience under his belt and is a chartered property casualty underwriter. To end this edition of the St. Martin Island Time TV News, a look again at the headlines. Dutch minister reports fruitful meeting in St. Martin and robbery suspect gets 4 years in prison. I'm Andre Huey and this has been the St. Martin Island Time TV News. Thank you for watching.